After 4 months of waiting with no Irish cinema release date, I had to wait till July to get my hands on finally watching Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. Now, this originally came out in March in everywhere else, literally everywhere has seen this other than me. So it took me till July until it eventually released on Apple TV for me to actually sit down on the couch with some popcorn and finally watch Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 with the likes of Tigger, Owl, and also Piglet returning along with Pooh in their new character designs. A movie I was waiting since the first one, since it was obviously released that the second one was coming out, because I absolutely despised the first film. So I was really intrigued to see what the second one held up for me, especially the fact that the actual official Twitter account responded to me on Twitter a couple times when the trailer was released. I was really excited. However, I completely forgot this movie was even coming out, considering it took around 4 to 5 months after the original release date for me to actually watch it and review it. So here it is. Here's my review of Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. So without further ado, I'm just going to say this straight up. This movie was awesome. I had so much fun watching this film. This film is by far trumps the other film. I absolutely despised the first film because I thought it was cheap and ultimately just a really good cash grab. The second film, yes, you could still call it a cash grab because, you know, we're making a childhood character a horror film, but hey ho, I thought it was fun. I thought the actual design of the characters, oh my god, the practical effects. For $1 million, right, for $1 million budget, they used this really effectively. I thought the budget of this film was really good, especially the fact that the other film had good cinematography regardless, which is really surprising. That was the one thing I took away from that first film. When it comes to this second film, the cinematography is upped. The opening scene especially was really gory to me. I did not expect to sit down and go, oh my god, what am I watching? The breaking of bones from Piglet and Pooh, oh my god, it's incredible. I have to admit, if you haven't watched the film, be prepared for the opening scene because it is quite gruesome. And ultimately the whole film is quite gruesome, but it obviously was a little bit more tamed down than I expected, because I did hear a lot of the time before I watched it that it was super gory, and I expected it to be gory, but it was a little bit like, you know, it wasn't Terrifier level, that's what we'll say. Another thing the sequel actually improved on was the story. They actually gave this film a storyline, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought the story worked well. It was obviously, you know, not the greatest story in the world. We're not talking Oppenheimer story here, but it's still really enjoyable. I thought it was like a really good fun film to sit down and kill maybe 2 hours or so. It was entertaining, it was fun. The actor Christopher Robin, who is I'm pretty sure directing the Neverland Nightmare Peter Pan film, which is honestly, I thought he'd done a really good job. The whole story of this was really intriguing, especially because when it comes to the end of it and you reveal like who Pooh and everything and how they all, you know, came to fruition, it was a little bit weird out of the blue, but honestly it was interesting. I thought the whole thing of the experiments was being really interesting in my opinion. So ultimately I did think this film was a little bit all over the shop with the story, but it at least had a story. It was intriguing. You had an actual intrigue to see what was actually going to go down by the end of this film, and ultimately it had me hooked, and I thought it was a really entertaining watch. And again, going back to the budget of this film, it was $1 million, where I'm pretty sure the first film was like maybe 100 grand, if even. I actually don't even remember, but I'll have a edit of how much it was for the first film. But the first film I think made around 5-6 mil, which is crazy considering how, you know, not amazing that first film is. But when it comes to this second film, I have to admit the way they deal with the first film is really funny, I have to say. And spoilers for it, but basically how they deal with the first film, they basically retcon it by making it a film inside of a film. We have a character who's babysitting this child, and this child is sitting on the couch watching the first Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey film, but instead of an actual scene from the first film, we get a scene of Winnie the Pooh saying, "It's pooing time." I mean, give them the Oscar now. Just give it to them. Just give Winnie the Pooh the Oscar.
And the Oscar goes to
Winnie the Pooh.
And ultimately, there was one thing I was super intrigued about, because no matter how weird a movie like this sounds with, let's say, for example, for Peter Pan, for the Cinderella one, they're going to be doing all these horror films, it's always going to come down to one thing being intriguing. How are they going to make it a horror film, and what are the kills going to look like? And in this film, I have to say, Tigger steals the show. I think he is by far the best in the entire, group or gang, so to say. He is very much a Freddy Krueger. I think it's really, really obvious. Even when you hear his voice, he's very Freddy Krueger. It seems to me that each of these, creatures from the 100 Acre Wood do represent some sort of, horror icon in a way. For example, we have Owl, which definitely, for me, resembles the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. We have Piglet, who's definitely more of a kind of like a Leatherface. He doesn't really do much, to be honest. Tigger, 100% Freddy Krueger, and obviously Pooh being like a sort of Michael Myers type character, I guess. But from what I know, the third film that has obviously been confirmed is meant to have Roo and the rabbit, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if there's any more being included, but I'm nearly 100% sure Roo is being involved, which is going to be really interesting because obviously he's a kangaroo, and I'm going to assume the mother of Roo is going to be involved as well. It's going to be super strange. But ultimately, this does lead into the whole puniverse thing that's going down with the puniverse monsters assemble. And I'm pretty sure the next film to come out is Bambi the Reckoning, which I'm actually really intrigued to hear about. I think it's going to be really, really cool. I'm a big fan of like the creature feature, so when it comes like the ritual and stuff like that, I hope it does represent something similar to that. For example, we do get a lot of hints towards the future of this universe. For example, when it comes to Pinocchio showing up in this film, we have the reference to Bambi. We do have a sort of like a news report of like 5 kids going missing, which is obviously in regards to Peter Pan. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how this kind of plays out. I think it was a really fun watch, I have to say. I'm gonna hold my hand up here. Whatever that I said about that first film, you can retcon that. Just like you retcon the first film, retcon my opinion, because this second film was so much fun. I had like a blast. I can't actually explain to you how much fun I had watching this film. If you are going to have a sleepover with your friends, or you're just going to have a night in watching a horror film, watching some stuff, and you just want to sit down and have a bit of fun, watch this film. It's awesome. But ultimately, that is my review on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Obviously, I didn't spoil much, but there's not much to spoil other than the fact that we have some references to the future of this universe. But ultimately, definitely go check it out. I'm pretty sure it's out on Apple TV. That's how I watched it. I managed to rent it on there. So definitely go check it out. I would highly recommend watching it. And definitely go let me know in the comments below. If you have seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. And I'd really be appreciated if you could hit that subscribe button. We do everything to do with horror on this channel. If you like horror, definitely hit that subscribe button and want to stick around. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll have the most fantastic day. Stay safe, and of course, peace. First shot of this episode. Tammy picks this house.
Oh, what about that one?
Now, if you ask me, that is the, worst house you can pick. It has wallpaper on the outside.